G'day jabronis, it is Averd, back with you again. Welcome here to our week 2 game against Carney and the Vancouver Stealth Rocks. It's a post-com for a couple of reasons. One, when I went to initially record this, my Camtasia was out of recording data or something. I had like used up all 200 gigabytes for stuff and then realized I just hadn't deleted videos that I already edited and uploaded to my channel, so like I got rid of those afterwards, but at the time it meant that I couldn't finish recording the live ones. There is some live footage, but I've already deleted it because there was a lot of salt, and I don't like being salty. It's not a fun feeling. You'll kind of see why I am during this battle, but yeah. So let's just get into the game. I don't want to bore you with that. So Cardi's brought a very interesting team. He's brought Volbeat and Jumpluff instead of Togekiss and Terrakion, which I found very surprising. Don't get me wrong, I know how much Cardi loves Volbeat, but Terrak had such a good matchup here, and Togekiss was also just super solid, especially for the Zygarde. But I mean, Kiss for Jumpluff I can kind of understand, but Volbeat for Terrakion didn't make a lot of sense to me, but everything else is basically what I expected. As you guys remember, I'm running like a nice fat Selly, Steelium DD Zygarde, Scuffed, Sneasel, Mega Diancie, just pretty standard set from as far as I can remember. I think it was Carmine Diancie, yeah it was. Nice Recycle Pig with the Carmine too, and then Refresh Seismitoad. So yeah, let's just jump into this game. There'll be a lot of pausing and whatnot. It's like you're watching a Gypsy King video too, so you know I should maybe put some nice jazz music in the background or something. So yeah. Young Carney is going to send this challenge. There is a lot of bullshit that happens in this game. I'm going to try and cover it all. So let's just get this going. So, leads Selly because he didn't bring Terrak, so it's great. He leads Jirachi. I instantly am worried about Sub, so I go straight for the Earthquake. As he reveals Thunderbolt, which is fine, because if he's not a super offensive Jirachi, which he isn't, it doesn't do too much to my Selly, because I've got nice mixed defense, and I can pop his Sugarberry by turn 1. So, right off the bat, we're in a really strong position, and I'm pretty happy with how things are going. Now, this turn I had a 50-50 choice to make. I didn't know whether I wanted to go into Sneasel or into Seismitoad, because I felt there were two options that Carney could take on this turn. One, I felt like he may go hard out to his Jumpluff, or potentially just any other aggressive land, potentially my Lotic on this turn, given that it didn't make a lot of sense for my Selly to stay in. I don't know, like he felt like he could threaten it, but also I just felt like he could Thunderbolt. And so I really wanted to go Sneasel here to be able to put pressure on the Rachi. With like at full HP, Flash Cannon ain't knocking me out if he has a special set, so I know I could take it on. But I didn't want to really, I don't know. At this point in the game, like I was live comming, and I just, in hindsight, Sneasel was the play here, because if he goes for rocks, that's fine. I go into Sneasel and I click Pursuit, because Flash Cannon can't kill me. Nothing he has can kill me barring Drain Punch. And even if he has the Drain Punch, like, that turn, I actually don't lose anything from clicking Knock Off either, because if he goes into my Lotic, I knock off potential lefties or Flame Orb. So I'd go into Sneasel and click Knock Off. If he somehow just stays into Drain Punches, I put his Jirachi down to the point where I can easily just revenge it with Diancie. So it was no big deal. It would suck losing my Scarf Sneasel, but that would have been the play. Unfortunately, that's not the play that I make. I end up going into Seismitoad, mainly because I figured Thunderbolt would be the play, and I was worried about him maybe just wanting to go for Flash Cannon now for damage. I don't know. I just figured the other reason I wanted to go Toad, right, was, like I said, I felt like there was a chance he would just go hard my Lotic on this turn. I also just felt that the Jirachi probably didn't have Grass Knot for this matchup. I just didn't think that would be a move he'd consider. I figured Icy Wind would be the move he'd go for over Grass Knot, so he wouldn't have a way to hit Toad that hard with Rachi. So that was my thought process going into Toad here. Realistically, I should have definitely gone Sneasel. So I can openly admit that was a misplay on my part, but here comes the Toad, as he basically is allowed to get free rocks. And that sucks. Like, I want to be able to punish him for getting rocks up, but I don't get to do that, which is annoying. But it is what it is. So Toad's in. I decide, I believe, to pull a double here, because So This is a silly part about it, right? So this turn I double into Sneasel, which makes you wonder, like, why didn't I go Sneasel in the first place? And that's the question I'm asking myself too. I realize that I think in the live comp, like, I should have just gone Sneasel straight away, because doing this play is counterproductive in two ways. One, I'm scouting for an energy ball, like, that he really shouldn't be running, because if he's running energy ball, he's running no coverage for Zygarde, which makes no sense on a Shooker set. So, if anything, the move that I should have been expecting was Moonblast. And if that was the case, like, Sneasel can take a Moonblast. It's not a big deal. And he's not going to click Moonblast against a Celesteela. So Sneasel was 100% the play. And the other downside of this play is that, like, I'm taking Rocks damage now, which is really not necessary, because now I'm getting into, like, Flash Cannon range, depending on, obviously, the Jirachi special attack investment. But I'm getting pretty close to the Stealth Rocks range, which is not ideal at all. So he's going to withdraw here. I get a free knockoff this turn, because this Jumpluff does not want to stay in. It's going to get rocked, and he goes into his Milotic. And I'm just going to be able to knock off for free. That does a ton, which tells me he's specially defensive, and that Flame Orb proves it. So he's a fully Spadef set with the Flame Orb. It's exactly the set that I faced in my mocks. So I'm not really too concerned by it. I know how to deal with it. Like, it always went the same way in my mocks. I would just go into Seismitoad. Now, the difference, right, was that in the mocks, my opponents were running Toxic instead of Ice Beam. Now, the reason for that, I think, is because, although this doesn't hit Roserade, I can understand Ice Beam to hit the Roserade, but I also feel like, you know, it's not doing a lot to Roserade, and Roserade can kind of pressure. He didn't bring a lot to deal with Roserade. That was really frustrating for my end, that I could have brought that over Grumpig quite easily, and it could have been a really good mon, but I had to respect threats like Terrakion, you know? So he's going to keep on Ice Beaming here. I was really hoping he'd be running Toxic, but he's definitely not. This is annoying, because it means my refresh item is kind of useless, so if I could run, like, you know, Scald instead, that could have been cool. Or even Drain Punch or something else, I don't know. Could have been wicked, but unfortunately I don't get to run any of those. And I get the Toxic off, I get the Rocks up, and then this bullshit happens. He freezes me. So, like, this is obviously really shit, because I click Earth Power this turn, which wouldn't have done a lot to a Spadef Milotic at all. But what it would have done was force a potential recover turn here, because it would have got Chip on him. And that could have allowed me a free swap out to my Grumpig, which is what I believe I do this turn, which is super annoying, because it could have kept left Milotic a bit lower, or forced it into a recover play. But instead now he just goes into his Jumpluff for free, and I'm like, oh god, this is not a good start. It's definitely not a good start, but Grumpig can put in some work. He doesn't have a lot of Grumpig checks hanging around right now, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it with the pig. So he's getting a Leech Seed, which is just, yeah, it's whatever. I kind of figured he'd bring some wacky set like this. I'm just going to Calm Mind up, because in my mind, all I realistically need on this thing is damage. It's already in range of Diancie going for Power Gem, and I just need it in range of Zygarde, really, so that, you know, +1 Iron Tail can basically bop this thing, so I'm not forced into using my Z move. He goes for Stun Spore this turn, and you can kind of already tell what's about to happen, can't you? So I'm at +1 here, and I get fully paralyzed. That would have done, to the set that he explained to me, at least half. With Rocks up, would have put a ton of pressure on his set. And I'm super annoyed, because now his thing is back in range of where it can potentially live a Power Gem from my Diancie, when it really shouldn't have been. So that sucked. And then he swaps his turn. Now, I make a bit of a misplay maybe by staying in. He had no reason to stay in and take a Psychic there. But at that point, I didn't really have a better play. Part of me wanted to go hard Sneasel, but I decided against it. And it sucks here, because this Wish now puts Jirachi back in range of where Knockoff doesn't kill it from Sneasel. So if I'd gone hard Sneasel there, then I could have basically just knocked out Jirachi with Knockoff. It would have been great. I go back into Seismitoad, because like I said, I'm pretty sure he has no way to hit my Toad, as he goes for Flash Cannon. Now this is really important. Watch the damage that it does. 93 down to 57. So that's 36%. Oh, sorry, 36 damage. He gets a Spadef drop. Now this sucks, because as you'll see from my Leftovers recovery, I go back up to 70. Now why that's important is because if he did 36 damage again without a Spadef drop, then my Lefty's recovery will put me back up to a point where I could live 2 turns of Flash Cannon. And Flash Cannon, he could have potentially, yeah, he didn't have Psychic, he had Icy Wind, right? So Flash Cannon, I believe, was still his strongest move because of Stab. So because of that, it means that my Seismic could have lived out a turn and potentially got off an Earth Power. And if it had got off that Earth Power, it would have 100% put Jirachi in range of Pursuit Sneasel, which I could have gone into on the next turn, knocked out Jirachi, and kept my Sneasel alive. But unfortunately, he gets the Spinef Jolt, which means I have to thaw out this turn in order to be able to knock out the Jirachi, as you can see from that damage, which is super annoying. It's really, really annoying, and of course I don't get thawed out. Why would I get thawed out? I was really frustrated at this point because like nothing was going right. And I was getting a bit tilted. I won't lie, there was a bit of tilt. Because that Leech Seed turn as well, from Grumpig staying in when it didn't have to, means now, like I said, Jirachi can live knockoff. So, I'm going to try and play hyper-aggressive here. I also, like at this point, was really in tilt. So I go Sneasel when I really shouldn't have gone Sneasel. That turn, I probably should have gone into my Stellar Stealer instead of Sneasel. Mainly because by going into Selly, I know I can take a Thunderbolt. And Selly was way more expendable at that point of the game. I could just go for Earthquake, or I could just go for Leech Seed against Jirachi, and potentially, you know, with Leech Seed Protect, take 2 Thunderbolts, and then go for Earthquake, weaken the Jirachi, knock it out with anything I want. Going Sneasel here was a huge risk. I just figured he knew that he could go into his Milotic, and it'd be nice and safe, and I thought maybe I could pressure the Jirachi with a potential play, but he had no reason to swap. And you'll see, like, this Pursuit damage does a good chunk, but you can clearly see, like, Pursuit is a base 40 move, right? Knockoff is base 65. So I would say it's going to do, like, another, maybe that much. But this is the range of health that's annoying, because that's the range of health that he basically recovered because of Leech Seed. So that's just really frustrating that I could have just freely clicked Knock on this Jirachi instead, and guaranteed either killed it, or caught the Milotic coming in and then gone back out to something else like Celesteela for free, or into my Grumpig. Like, I had so many options, and I basically just lose my Sneasel for nothing. Well, not for nothing. I weakened Jirachi now to the point where I know I can knock it out with Diancie, but it's just really frustrating that that turn of events had to happen. I'm going to blow my nose, so I do apologize. Your boy is like coming off a cold right now. So Diancie's going to be able to come in and pick off the Jirachi because he has no reason to swap. Anything he swaps out to dies at this point. Milotic, with a combination of Rocks and Toxic, I can basically just bop. So Diancie's going to bop the Jirachi here. That's great. Like, this is really good for me. I'm really happy. Jirachi's dead. So cool. That's, you know, one big threat out of the way. He goes into Kyurem now, and I'm like, okay. If I know Cardi, he's going to be one of 2 sets. He's either going to be Scarf or Roselli Berry. And I really wanted to stay in here and click Power Gem expecting Roselli Berry, but I had a feeling he'd be Scarf. And I planned for this because of Young Pig. Young Pig comes in here, takes the Rocks damage, but that activates my Aya Papa Berry. And it's time to snack on this berry. And that's going to put me back up to a nice healthy range. And as you're going to see, he's going to go for the Earth Power here. So I'm like, okay, cool. Earth Power is only doing like 53 damage, so that tells me that I could definitely live 2 Ice Beams. So I go for Recycle this turn, because I know that if I switch out, I can come back in on Rocks and proc my berry again. So I'll be fine. Like, I can just, you know, do that. I'll be all Gucci, guys. Nope. Nope, that ain't happening now. And, like, that's massive, because I know that he's a Scarf Kyurem. I 100% know that he's a Scarf Kyurem now, from the way that he played it. And like, that's really huge, because if I can recycle there, I guaranteed live 2 Ice Beams. That's a modest Kyurem, by the way, from the calcs. Modest Earth Power. If I can bang off my berry again... God damn. It basically means that my Grumpig can 1v1 his Kyurem Black. But unfortunately, because I get fully paralyzed, that ain't happening. And now Volbeat's in. I don't really want to lose my Grumpig to like a freaking lunge, or I figured Bug Buzz would be his play here, or we could Tail Glow. Just a lot of things that I wasn't okay with, so Celesteela was the play. I need to preserve that Grumpig just in case. And he goes for Defog, which sucks, because I could have still recycled with Grumpig if I needed to. But, like, I could have just recycled the other turn and swapped out the Selly as well, so it's like, it was just very, very frustrating. So Selly's in now, which is cool. I can just drop a free Leech Seed, because Volbeat could stay in here and then go for Encore, but on the threat of me going for like Air Slash, he has no reason to risk that. So he's going to go out to his Milotic. It is by far his safest play. Milotic can obviously take hits if it needs to. Leech Seed's going to be great for me here, as I am able to wear down the Milotic. Well, I'm hoping I can wear down the Milotic at this point. Now that Jirachi's out of the way, it does pave a little bit of a path for Pig to potentially reverse sweep him here, judging on how he doesn't have a lot to deal with it. I'm just going to play it really smart. Milotic's looking nice and weakened here, which is really, really good for me. So it's chilling at about maybe like 60%. And he's going to pull a swap out to his Jumpluff. As I pull a swap out back into my Grumpig, the reason for that is because I know that Milotic, since it doesn't, well, even if it had Toxic, it can't really touch my Pig that much. And I figured he'd want to go for a Recover that turn. Against the Jumpluff, I knew that I could potentially like recycle, but I think, no, you know what, I don't need to do that. I can go hard out to my Diancie because I'm Mega Evolve, because I know he's going to Leech Seed here. And I'm just going to be able to Magic Bounce that right back. So yeah, cool. And I'm in a position here where I know that Power Gem, he would need like a ridiculous amount of bulk for this not to Oko. Like, he would need a very good amount of bulk. I'm going to go for the Power Gem. And he lives on 2. And the reason he lives on 2 is because he had enough Spinef investment for it to be, I can't remember the exact calc. I think it was like a 6 point, yeah, it was. It was one of those 6.3% chances not to Oko. So it was like 93.5% chance in my favor to basically wipe out this Jumpluff. And it lives on 2. And this is going to end up mattering because he fires off an Energy Ball here. And that Energy Ball is huge because it puts me in range of Alakazam's Psychic. It puts me in range of Kieran Black with any attack. Funnily enough, Kieran Black there, if it went for Ice Beam, could not knock out my Diancie. It wouldn't happen. I think Earth Power could, but then it allows Selly back in for free, which he can't afford. So I could have lived the Ice Beam on this turn if KB came in, and since I know it's Scarfed, I could have knocked it out with Moonblast. And that would have changed the complexion of this game. But unfortunately, I am Force Switch, and this is where if I'd recycled the Berry, it was huge. Because as you can see, Grumpig's going to come in here. If I had my Berry still, you watch. He goes for Ice Beam. This is a modest Ice Beam from Kieran. He negates the effect of Thick Fat. 109, then a 27. Now, if my Berry pops, then I'm getting like around 100 or so health back. Which means that the next Ice Beam will not kill me. And if I want to there, I can actually just go straight for a Focus Blast if I want to be real. I'm going to drop a Focus Blast on him if he wants to try and stay in. And that Focus Blast weakens Kieran to the point where it will die to Zygarde's E-Speed. So, like, it just opened the door for so many players if I was able to recycle my Berry there. But because I couldn't recycle my Berry, he's now able to knock me out with Ice Beam. That sucks. Like, that really did suck. Grumpig could have put in so much work in this game if it hadn't gotten fully paralyzed the turns that it did. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention that. The turn when I was fully paralyzed against the Jumpluff, when I clicked Psychic, that would have put it down into range where my Diancie could have just knocked it out with Power Gem. And that also would have really helped out in the game because I could have just stayed in and done the exact plays that I told you about before. But anyway, moving on. I go into Selly because this is like the only thing I have left to deal with Kieran Black. He's going to drop the Ice Beam because like he's a modest KB. At this point, he's just like allowed to kill anything he wants. I take it like a champion. Enough to where I might be able to live another one. Like it's going to be a roll after lefties. I go for the Heavy Slam. Now, at this range, there is no way in hell my Zygarde is killing with E-Speed. Zygarde's E-Speed to a Kyurem, if it has no bulk, because I'm jolly, is doing like 24% maximum. So there is no way in hell, even I think with a crit, that I can kill Kyurem here. So basically, this game is pretty much over on this turn, unless my Celesteela can live an Ice Beam. It's a roll from here. Judging on the last one, I just kind of have to hope and pray that I get a roll in my favor. And I do. This is actually the turn, by the way, that my recording stopped. But we actually were able to live and we were able to knock out the Kyurem. That was, you know, again, that was potential rolls. It was close. Let's put it that way. It was close. So I get a nice fat defense boost here. Get my health back up slightly. And I'm here like, okay, let's look at the field. So he has a Volbeat, a Milotic, and a Mega Alakazam left. I have a full health Zygarde, and a Mega Diancie, and this Selly, which is basically just sack fodder. But then I realized that because of all the stuff that had already happened, this turn was basically checkmate. Well, it wasn't actually checkmate. So, realistically, guys, on this turn, I actually make a bit of a misplay. Not sure how much it'll matter in, like, the long run. But, like, realistically, this turn might have mattered. Because of, like, what unfolds here. So, I'm at a point here, like, where I'm pretty much over this game. But Zam comes in, and what I should have realized was, oh, if Alakazam Mega Evolves here, and copies my Beast Boost, I'm in a lot of trouble. Because, although, like, so, I was trying to think of my best way to win. Right? I was trying to think on this turn, and there were two options that I had. One was staying in Huiselli and just clicking Heavy Slam, because if he just kills me against the Beast Boost, he needs to have HP Ice to knock out my Zygarde. If he doesn't have HP Ice, Zygarde can DD up, and then drop the arrows onto Zam, and just OHKO it. Then my Milotic comes in, I drop the arrows on that, it kills me, but then Diancie can finish off my Milotic. We saw it was lefties, I believe, on Volbeat, so I can knock that thing out with a Power Gem, and we win. And that was like the tunnel vision that I went with, but what I didn't think about was, if Zam Mega Evolves here, and like, I didn't think he'd bring a set like this. Carney definitely surprised me with this set, and it's going to put in work. But in hindsight, if I'd gone hard Diancie on this turn, it would not have changed anything. Because he's going to Mega Evolve regardless, and I guess it'll show it. He's going to click a move called Barrier, which basically gives him +2 defense. The reason why then the other plays don't matter is because he just clicks Psychic and kills Diancie. And then even Zygarde at +1 with Steelium Z, the strongest move I can throw at Zam, is not going to kill it. Zam's Psychic is still going to be a 2-hit KO because Alakazam is broken. And that means that there's no chance. So now I only have one chance of being able to bring this back. And that is hoping that Selly can either crit on this turn, or maybe on the next turn something can happen. So I'm fearful right now. I'm a little bit fearful because obviously he's going to get the Beast Boost. But I'm sitting here like, okay, I've done the chip now. And I was trying to like run through my head of the possibilities. And the only possibility left to me was like, right, if he kills me with Psychic here, I can DD up with Zygarde, take a +1 Psychic if I have to. And then Steelium Z from the range that Zam is at now will knock it out. If Zam was at full, no chance. So if I'd gone Diancie, I would have lost this battle. So in here is the only chance that I have to win. And he goes for Charge Move, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding. He misses, which is crazy, because now it makes this very, very interesting at the end, because this is now turned into a 3-hit KO. Now the crazy part though, right, is that this all comes down basically to this turn. Alakazam at +1, and I think he said he was timid in the end. I can't remember exactly. No, I think he was modest, but like, modest +1 Psychic does not knock out my Zygarde. Like, you saw from the team builder, it has some nice bulk. So I can live 1. I can't live a +2 hit, so this is where I'm getting a little bit scared. Because if he gets the Charge Beam boost, it's GG. It's all over. Zygarde won't be able to live a Psychic from there. I'm assuming his last move is Recover. And so this turn, I just choose to go for Leech Seed, which seems a bit silly, but the reason I want to go for Leech Seed is because, realistically, it's going to do more than Heavy Slam in the long run, because I can always Protect as well. So I think I was Leech Seed Protect. No, was I Leech Seed Protect or Leech Seed Toxic? I can't remember. I actually can't remember. Shit. But I think I did click Leech Seed on this turn. It was either Leech Seed or Heavy Slam. But basically, the only chance I have now of winning this game with the health that Alakazam is at is if he either misses his Charge Beam here, and I can knock him out with Heavy Slam, or he hits his Charge Beam, but does not get the boost. So, ladies and gentlemen, after all the stuff that's happened in this game, it is going to come down to this turn right here. I've got like my fingers crossed at this point that maybe I can somehow get a result out of this. He does hit the Charge Beam, like, okay, as long as this doesn't get the boost, we can still win. We still have a chance, guys. We can do this. Nope. No. That's the whole entire game, because now he's a +2 Zam. A crit E-Speed from here, I think, was the only calc that I saw that could even remotely get close to killing Zam. And even if it did, then my Milotic just comes in and becomes a huge issue. So yeah, I E-speed here. And as you're going to see, it does nothing. A crit would have killed him. But, as I said, a +2 Psychic will murder my Zygarde. Interesting fact, as well. If I had crit the E-speed, it would have been an interesting end. Because if my Loaded came in against Zygarde, I think my best play was still to DD. Because I know that Ice Beam wouldn't kill. And then +1 arrows, even though his Marvel Scale is activated, will do a good chunk since he is no Fizz Def. And then if he recovers, I basically just spam arrows and hope I leave my Logic after Toxic in range of dying to, what's it called, Diancie. And if he goes into Volbeat, then I basically am forced into clicking Steelium and hoping I outspeed. But then Volbeat could also just click Encore on my E-speed and then go out to... So the potential there was like, I would have to go hard Diancie on the Volbeat and then potentially just win with Zygarde. Like, there were a lot of options. The frustrating part was with the Diancie too, because if I hadn't taken the damage from the Jump Pluff, then in the late game I had another way of winning, which was basically still doing the same plays that I did, but I had Carmine, like I said, on Diancie, so I could have taken a Scald from my Lodic at +1 and then just gone for Moonblast and basically just, you know, cleaned as well. So it was just super unfortunate. Like, literally, the part that annoyed me more, like, because obviously Carney played really well, so I can't fault him there. He brought some really cool sets, and it worked for him. So, like, I'm not mad at him. I guess the only part that frustrated me was that, like, I'd planned for everything. Like, every turn, I knew exactly what I had to do to put myself in a winning position. And unfortunately, the game just kind of cucked me. And, you know, that's mods. That happens. Like, you can do everything right in the game. You can do absolutely everything right. I'm just going to take it back to the home screen. If it can take me back to the home screen, please. Thank you. Alright, you can do everything right in the game, guys, and this stuff can still happen to you, and that's just the reality of it. I'm not mad at all. I think I played really well, given the circumstances of the game and what happened. I think definitely if those unfortunate turns didn't happen, I could have definitely won. It's really hard to predict, though. When it comes to hacks, I'm not going to be one of those people to say, like, oh, if it wasn't for the hacks, then I would have won, because I don't really know. Like, anything could have happened on any other turn. I don't think it was, you know, the odds were just in Carney's favor. And, you know, Pokemon is basically a role-based game. It's pretty much like Dungeons & Dragons. So, I'm not that mad. Like, it sucks that we had to lose that way, but if that's the way we maybe get our only loss for the season, I'm happy with that. Like, and Carney's such a good friend of mine, so, like, we actually chatted for, like, a solid hour in call afterwards about all the calcs and that, you know, a lot of those turns, if not all those turns, really did matter. But at the same time, like, my man brought a Volbeat and a Jump Pluff, and they put in work. I brought a Grumpig to this game. Like, it was a lot of fun. It was honestly a lot of fun, and I was mad that the live com of me was very salty, because I don't like being like that. So I'm hopeful that I can remove that salt in the future, because, you know, it's just a part of the game, hacks. Like, you can't really control it. And I'm just hoping maybe that the rest of my games can just be clean this season. I would just prefer that. But anyway, GG to Carney. We unfortunately do get the 3-0 loss here. It means that we now go to 1-1 with a +3 differential. We're hopefully going to bounce back next week against a fellow Australian, Bill Standish, and the Adelaide Honch Crows. Going to be a really, really important game. It is the last game that I'll be playing with a few members of my team. So when I get into the team builder for that, I think the battle as well, I will announce the transactions that I'm making. But definitely some big changes coming to the Frogadiers. But anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have liked the video, don't forget to also check out my boy Carney. He does some awesome stuff. He does like these grass Nuzlocke and stuff, and it's amazing. Like, he is a grass type master. And yeah, I definitely would highly recommend going to check him out. He's a really, really great guy. Yeah, he goes on now to a 2-0 record, so, you know, good on him. I couldn't be happier for him, to be fair. It's gonna be a really competitive season. Like, it's gonna be really, really tough to you know, get a lot of good results, a lot of really good players. So I just gotta step it up. Next week against Bill, I just gotta step it up. So I'm keen for that. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. My name is Averd. I'm out this bitch.